Yo, what's up guys? So, since the start of the split, I made a lot of bold predictions. Some were right, some were wrong. And let's be a little bit egotistical and go over the 5 times that I was right. One thing first, we have a sponsor for this video. It's brought to you by Summoner's War. Summoner's Wars is the classic mobile RPG, and they're celebrating their 6th year anniversary this year. So if you sign up using my code, you will get 100 free summons. Don't forget to use the code, guys. You can try out different kind of team composition within the game, and also you can make the monsters you have stronger by enhancing them with runes. So personally, what I like to do with Summoner's War is let it do the auto battle thing while I play League of Legends. It's a really great game to have on the side while you're in queue or you're dead. Yeah, just a really great companion game for all you League of Legends fans. Alrighty, let's see who we get. Oh man, I can't get sucked into this. We got Lucen, the Wind Joker. He's one of the best Nat 4s. He's a really good XP farmer. Hopefully you guys can get lucky with your summons too. Don't forget to use my link down in the description. It's going to give you 100 free summons. I mean, I only have 10 fingers, but it's going to give you 100 free scrolls. Oh, one thing I do want to mention. I know pre-rolls like this can be disruptive to your viewing experience, but ad revenue for YouTube has been going down due to the whole Rona thing. And yeah, it's very important that I do stuff like this so I can still do content for you guys. So show the love, click the link, I appreciate it, and now let's get to the video. So let's start with number 1. Team Liquid will have championship fatigue. I think a lot of people expected this iteration of Team Liquid to dominate. Honestly, myself included, I really wished I didn't put them number 1. In my preseason power rankings, I had Cloud9 number 2, but when the roster was announced, I had so much mixed feelings. I knew how much of a big role Xmithy played. He was a perfect glue piece player. He held all their communication together. And honestly, there's a lot of fiery personalities on Team Liquid. Jensen, Doublelift, and Xmithy was the player that made everything work. They have the best collection of talent still, period. But this is a team that's won 4 in a row. It's a lot easier to reach the top than it is to stay there. Once you're at the top, everyone wants a piece of you. How you got there, how you play is being dissected by every other team and their analysts. And also, it's easy to get comfortable and much harder to put in the same kind of work you did for the first 4 when you had everything to prove. And the addition of Broxah is a plus in terms of mechanics and mid and jungle synergy, but there is a part of me that worries about Broxah not being the same kind of glue that Xmithy was when it comes to making on-the-fly decision to help out rest of the lanes. And also, he won't be starting for the first few weeks, so yeah, he has even less time to really gel with the rest of his teammates and really find his role. Sure, Broxah could have been an upgrade, but it would take time and it would be risky. Also, winning 4 championships in a row and failing at Worlds every single time would take a toll on the players. And yeah, these are extremely veteran players, so I thought it was pretty obvious that they would have championship fatigue. It's a lesson for me in the future. Next time, be bolder with your predictions. If you really feel like a top tier team is going to have problems, don't just go by the names and put them number 1. And yeah, just put them lower. Man, that would have made me look like a god, just putting Team Liquid a lot lower and putting Cloud9 number 1. Even knowing like how bad the championship fatigue would be, I think it would have been really hard for me to put them anywhere below 3. Them getting 9th to split was just crazy. For number 2, it's my prediction that Dardoch and TSM won't mesh well.
Broken Blade, Dardoch, Biofrost, I think those 3 have extreme high upside, but also very low floors. I think that tilt is a big problem with Josh, and depending on how Broken Blade plays, Dardoch he likes playing top side. He does like playing bot side, but he does like top side is like one of his favorite ways to play. If Broken Blade cannot be on the form that's required out of him, I think that's going to be hugely problematic.
As for Dardoch, he went through 6 different teams, and I think Echo Fox was the only one that you could even call remotely successful. So the team that can't keep a jungler, the jungler that can't keep a team, finally together. But yeah, this is not going to be an easy upbringing at all, and it's going to be about how they deal with losses, how they deal with disagreement. And I honestly don't think it's going to be easy for them. I think more likely than not, they will fail regarding this part of running a team. Like, this team has so much pressure and so much volatile pieces. When I initially made this prediction, I got so much hate because, you know, I have a previous relationship with Dardoch that was shaky to say the least.
You checked out this game, so I checked out all 36 minutes of this game. I don't think that's accurate at all, Loco. I made a mistake
because you can't be called out on a mistake without fighting back about it.
Yeah, because I didn't check out this game. I tried fucking hard, and I got.
Piglet, ask Matt, ask the rest of the team.
I mean, Zig thinks I didn't check out.
Okay, Piglet and Matt did.
Okay, well that's 2-3. I still think that's not very good odds for you.
I also have a previous relationship with TSM. But honestly, I love TSM. I still really, truly love the team. Yeah, from my perspective, I think Dardoch really hasn't shown a change of behavior. The last time he played before joining TSM was on Optic Academy. From what I heard, there was a lot of times where he didn't take practice seriously. And yeah, just wasn't a great Academy player. And it was obvious in his play too. He wasn't the best jungler in Academy. And a lot of people just viewed that as, oh, it's Dardoch. Why would he try hard in Academy? When the Dardoch to TSM thing was announced, I remember me being very vocal beforehand talking about how Dardoch won't mesh well in the TSM culture. And Duncan made tweets about, see, I told you so. I told you Dardoch would go join TSM eventually. And I told you TSM eventually needed Dardoch. It is true that TSM as a name has come down a lot. And it was kind of them being desperate getting Dardoch. They definitely should have gotten Xmithie instead. My perspective on everything was Dardoch hasn't shown a change in behavior, and TSM management also just ruined 3 junglers before. It was the Spica, Acadian, Greg fiasco. So there's just no way this would mesh well. I think it was people believing in the positive, like just being way too optimistic. Is there a world where Dardoch would have worked out for TSM and been the aggressive and the vocal and the confident jungler they need? Completely. Like, there's definitely an alternate dimension where that works out, but it's such a low chance. There's a quote that Oprah said that I think is really, really important, and I try to live my life by. When people show you who they are, believe them. And I think Dardoch over the years has shown who he is, and I also think TSM over the years have shown who they are as a team. And yeah, we should have just believe what they have shown and not be so optimistic that Dardoch would have worked out on TSM. I mean, looking at the season, they're like 4th. So TL, EG, FlyQuest are finishing above them. That's not terrible. That's also an improvement from last year. But also considering the talent that they had, it is still really disappointing. And considering how the games went and considering how the iteration of TSM turned out to be, very inconsistent, top focused instead of being mid and jungle focused where a lot of their talent supposedly is, it is a disappointment. I don't want to push the viewpoint that people can't change. That's not what I'm saying at all. The viewpoint that I want to push is that's the recent behavior that you have shown. No amount of words can really change my perspective on you. It's your actions that will change my perspective on you and show me that you have changed. And yeah, Dardoch just didn't do that in Academy, and TSM also didn't do that, and we got this result. Now, number 3, it's Keith support will not work out. Let's go to our number 1 worst LCS off-season roster move of 2020. Keith as Golden Guardian support. What in the actual fuck? How? What the fuck? Like, how does this happen? Currently, yes, mechanics are very important for a support player, but traits like leadership, game knowledge is still the more important assets. To make plays on the map, you need to be able to spot it out before, communicate it to your team, know all the moving parts involved, and lead your team to making that play. I love you, Keith, but this ain't it, fam. You're not that player. Your strengths are not leadership or game knowledge. This was the most confusing off-season move so far, and Golden Guardians has 2 of my worst top 5 LCS off-season roster moves, so yeah, we'll see how it pans out. I called this perfectly. I mean, I also got to talk to a few Golden Guardians members after it was announced and I talked to them, and they talked to me about how they would give Keith time, and they also talked about how they understand it's gonna take a lot of effort on their end, a lot of effort on Keith's end, and I was like, no, this is so fucking stupid. People have strengths, players have strengths, player like Keith is very mechanically talented, but he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And support is so much about leadership, it's so much about knowledge, it's so much about understanding the map. And their response to the whole thing was, FBI wants someone with fingers in lane. FBI wants to play lane aggressively. Keith has fingers. Oh, it was just such an atrocious decision. And it also makes Keith move backward in his career. I think he went to go play for Golden Guardians Academy after he got benched. And yeah, now he's left in an awkward spot where he role swapped to support, which I don't think is the role he should be playing, and he kind of tanked his reputation. Now what does he do? Does he swap back to AD carry and try again from Golden Guardians Academy? Then that means they would have to kick out whoever is the AD carry on Golden Guardians Academy. It just really messed with Keith's trajectory as a player. And what I thought was so obnoxious about this whole situation was after they made it into playoffs, they released a video about memeing everyone that said Golden Guardians would be 10th. We said you would be 10th with Keith. You switched up your roster and you barely squeezed into playoffs, and then you got smashed in the series that you played. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, Golden Guardians? Sure, there's some bad blood between me and Golden Guardians, but I try to be fair to them as much as possible. And yeah, I think the Keith's decision was garbage, and I was right to call it out as one of the worst roster moves of the season. So number 4 is Immortals' lack of carry players will limit them. I think initially when this roster was announced, it honestly wasn't that hype, and a lot of people had Immortals somewhere around 9th or 8th, sometimes even 10th, and I thought their big limitation would be not having carry players, and it turned out to be so. For the bet they're making on Ica, Altec, and Soads is we understand these players better than the other teams, and we see something in them that the others really don't. And also, they're betting on teamwork in a cohesive roster. It's something they talk about in their roster pickup video. And also, they're really betting on the player's mindset, like having a chip on their shoulder. I can understand the kind of bets they're taking, and it makes more sense than Golden Guardians, but I think individual strength in carry roles is extremely important. And players that take a break and come back normally don't do very well. In League of Legends, what kind of carries you have is kind of your ceiling as a team. It's how high you can achieve. There's no team in the world that has ever achieved like number 1, number 2 results without having a really hard carry player. Yeah, having a hard carry player allows you to win team fights, it allows you to close out games, and when you don't have that player, you can slowly build leads, but it's really hard for your team to be explosive. I think that's kind of what we saw with Immortals. This team made smart decisions, this team had good drafts, this team set up fights well, but they just couldn't compete with the absolute top tier teams because of not having hard carry players. I mean, Altec eventually got replaced. He is someone that could be a hard carry, but coming from a long break, I knew he wouldn't be in the same kind of form that he needed to be, and also to compete with so many of the veteran carry players that are in LCS right now. As for Ica, he was just run-of-the-mill European, like French league player. He wasn't someone that was special. And when I talked to European casters about Ica, the answer that I got was he's someone very similar to Pobelter, while even being worse than Pobelter. Not someone that's phenomenal in terms of mechanics, but someone that's a great team player and someone that can communicate well. And Soads is Soads. Soads is a dependable tank player that's very smart. So there's just no player with insane mechanics and with a lot of pop-off potential. And yeah, that was the result of Immortals. They barely didn't make playoffs. And honestly, the split was so garbage in terms of level of the teams. It was a really bizarre split when you add in the whole Rona and the playing online, all that shizzle. But yeah, Immortals didn't have a hard carry player, and it really limited what their team could do. Now, my last one is Vulcan will be a top tier player. Even going back to middle of last year when Vulcan was still on Clutch Gaming, I always had him rated very, very highly. Moving on to the support, we have Vulcan. The great engager, great mindset. He survived the Clutch Gaming catastrophe that was their spring split. All the good things about him is kind of being overshadowed by the 1.5 million buyout. And one thing that really stuck out to me for Vulcan is he was in Clutch Gaming with Piglet and always getting shit on, pretty much like getting raged at. Like, it is hell playing with Piglet. It is not easy at all, and he survived that. He didn't just survive that, he actually thrived in that environment. He picked up so much, his laning improved a lot, and he was always positive. Even after losses, he was so willing to do interviews, and I knew he had a really good head on his shoulders. And also, from watching him play, his mechanics seemed insane. So he just needed the right environment to be an absolute top tier player. And yeah, Cloud9 provided that. I think he was by far the best support. I know a lot of people are going to mention Ignar because of how hard he's been carrying FlyQuest with his Rakan, but overall, Vulcan has been way better as a support. It's just he doesn't get to shine as much on Cloud9. Well, he does get to shine a lot, but not as much. He just gets overshadowed by players like Niski, players like Blabber, these players that are way more flashy, and even Zven, his lane partner, is getting a lot more of the praise and a lot more attention due to the KDA and also just due to being the AD carry. But Vulcan is an absolute top tier player. I think he is by far the best support of the split, and I called it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really fun doing this. I know, I'll go do the 5 times I was wrong. Oh my god, it's gonna be fun talking about CLG and Crown, huh? Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps me. It tells the YouTube algorithm that you love me. And also, one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Bye!
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words.